Good evening, Northern Colorado, and happy Labor Day. This is Ron, K0AZA. I'm located in Fort Collins, and I'll be net control for tonight's NCARC TechNet. The purpose of the TechNet is to enlighten amateur radio operators on topics of a technical nature. We'll do our best to answer any technical questions for the benefit of all those who are listening. If there's a subject that's never been made quite clear to you, this is a great opportunity to find an answer. If anyone feels they have information that will help regarding that subject, please give your call sign and Net Control will call on you. This net may be interrupted at any time for emergencies or priority traffic. If you need to use the system for emergency during the net, say break and give your call sign. We'll acknowledge you and suspend the net until you advise that you're clear. Is there any emergency or priority traffic at this time? All licensed amateur radio operators with 70-centimeter privileges are encouraged to check into the net. NCARC Club membership is encouraged but never required for participation. Check-ins are requested for the purpose of counting participation, and no checkout is required. When checking in, please give your call sign slowly, first alphabetically, then again using the ITU phonetic alphabet along with your name and location. When checking in, please state if you'll have a topic that you'd like to discuss. Check-ins will be taken in groups of 3. When I acknowledge the first group of 3, I'll move on to the next group of 3. I'll start by taking check-ins from Echolink. Anyone on Echolink, please call now. Okay, let's take check-ins from call suffixes Alpha through Mike. Alpha through Mike, please call now.
WA9FBO, Whiskey Alpha 9, Foxtrot, Bravo Oscar, Bob and Laporte. Evening, Ron.
Well, this may be a very short net, Bob. Let's try this again. Check-ins from call suffixes Alpha through Mike. Alpha through Mike, please call now.
This is K3SAD, Kilo 3, Sierra Alpha Delta, coming in over Echo Link. You sounded choppy on Echo Link, so we'll see how I sound.
Yeah, a little choppy, but readable, George. Thank you for the check-in. Let's just open it up to all call suffixes Alpha through Zulu. Alpha through Zulu, please call now.
This is N0NYY, November 0, November Yankee Bart in Evans with Gene and 0QXQ, November 0 Quebec X-Ray Quebec.
KD0YOP, Kilo Delta 0, Yankee Oscar Papa, Scott in Fort Collins.
KF0UFB, Kilo Foxtrot 0, Uniform Foxtrot Bravo, John in Fort Collins.
Yeah, okay, I think there might have been somebody doubling with John. If there was a doubling station, please come back now.
KF0, TUV, Kilo Foxtrot 0, Tango Uniform Victor, Joe in Masonville.
Thanks, Joe. The net acknowledges N0NYY, N0QXQ, KD0YOP, KF0UFB, and KF0TUV. So, Joe, do you still have to stand up that very specific spot on one foot, or do you have a new antenna?
Actually, I have to stand on that one little spot. I'm working on an antenna. Haven't got it in yet, but have great hopes for the future. Back to that.
Well, you got the spot nailed. You sound good, so just don't move. So let's go ahead and take the next check-ins for the next group of 3, Alpha through Zulu. Next group of 3, please call now.
This is Kilo Bravo 0, Yankee Delta November, KB0YDN, Eric, Mobile, Loveland.
This is K0 Papa Echo, Kilowatt 0 Papa Echo, Dave in Loveland.
This is KE0ME, Kilo Echo 0, Mike Echo, Dick in Loveland.
Okay, let's hold up there. The net acknowledges KB0YDN, K0PE, and KE0ME. Next group of 3, Alpha through Zulu, please call now.
KF0SHX,
Kilo Foxtrot 0, Sierra Hotel X-Ray, Norm, Johnstown, no traffic.
Okay, Norm, gotcha. Is Mary with you tonight?
This is Mary. KF0SHW, Kilo Foxtrot 0, Sierra Hotel Whiskey, no traffic.
Good to hear from you, Mary. You normally check in first, so you threw me for a loop. Anyone else to check in? All call suffixes, call now. Well, let's go ahead and move on. We can take late check-ins later. Does anybody have a topic tonight?
N0NYY with an announcement.
Yeah, go ahead, Bart.
Safe bet. Everybody knows what I'm going to say, but I'll say it anyway. This Wednesday is ham lunch at Perkins in Loveland, 2222 West Eisenhower, also known as Highway 34. We typically get together at 11:30 in the back room. We're sometimes early, sometimes late. It's a great opportunity to get to meet some of the people you've been talking to. And it's also, my friend Mark used to call it TechNet with lunch, because you get to have some food there. The food at Perkins is fairly reasonable. So, you don't have to be a ham to be there. You don't have to be a club member to be there. It's not actually a club function. It's just a bunch of local hams who get together for lunch every other Wednesday. So that'll be this Wednesday at 11:30. Back to net. Thank you.
Thank you, Bart. Does anybody else have a topic for the net? Well, if nobody else does, I have a question, and kind of directing it towards you folks that know your way around test equipment. And my question is this. So let's say I have a DC power supply, a 13.8 volt supply, and it's a switching supply, so I'd like to put it onto an oscilloscope and see what sort of switching transients or switching noise it's generating. Now, bear in mind, I'm a marketeer. I'm not a technical person, so I only know enough to be dangerous. If I'm generating a square wave, I know how to trigger a scope on the front end of the square wave and set the levels and things like that to be able to check the frequency of the square wave. I can handle that, but when I'm looking for noise, I'm not exactly sure how to trigger the scope. Let me do a reset real quick. So the question is, does one just set the trigger level just slightly above the DC input and see if it triggers on anything and that's noise, or is there a more intelligent way of going about doing this, or maybe an oscilloscope isn't the right tool? So somebody could give me some pointers on this, I'd be much appreciative.
NYY.
K0PE.
Well, Bart was first, so we'll let him go first. Go ahead, NYY.
Okay, so there's two things you're probably going to want, or would normally want to look at. One would be ripple, which would be 60 hertz, and the easiest way to do that on the scope is to set the input of the channel you're looking at for AC input, and that will filter out the DC and give you just the ripple. If it's 60 cycle ripple, you would set your time base appropriate. Have to look at the scope and see what those specific controls are. But if it's going fairly slow, that allows you to see AC ripple. More likely, you're going to want to see spurs from the switching frequency, and that will usually be much faster. So typically you would sweep up into, get up into the shorter time-based, higher frequency stuff. I feel like that is actually easier to do with a spectrum analyzer like a Tiny SA or Rydal or any of those that are out there. Those are the two suggestions I would make. In the past, I have found oscilloscopes with widely varying sensitivities and interactions, and I feel that a spectrum analyzer is an easier way to do that, with the exception of the 60-cycle ripple, if there is any, which most switching power supplies don't have much 60-cycle ripple at all. That's what makes them kind of handy. And I will also be happy to go into that in further detail by email or in person if you want to handle it. And 0 and Marmite.
Well, I was going to suggest that this may require a lunch at Jason's Deli, so we may do that. I'll try throwing it on the scope first and see what I can come up with, though. I appreciate the suggestion on the ripple, though I hadn't thought about that. K0PE, you had something for me?
Yeah. This is K0PE. I'm a former engineer from Tektronix, of all places. But N0NYY was right on the money there. And spectrum analyzer is very, very useful for looking at switching power supplies. But you can get some interesting detail with an oscilloscope. Nowadays, they're all digital, so you need one with a fairly high sampling frequency in order to get more than one occasional sample on a peak. But you can set them, again, AC coupled, so you don't have to look at the DC underneath it. And you can get the sensitivity up. And you should be able to trigger at the switching frequency you should be able to trigger at the switching frequency with ordinary trigger adjustment, and you should be able to see that and probably harmonics of it as well.
Yeah, okay, great. Well, as it turns out, it's a Tektronix scope. I don't remember what model or frequency it is, but if anyone's interested, I can go check in about 10 seconds if you want to talk amongst yourselves.
Well, it's been a considerable time, and I am not familiar with the latest Tektronix models. The Tektronix scope I use and have is a 475A, which was a CRT scope, but with a nice wide 250 megahertz bandwidth, and I found that extremely useful over the years.
Yeah, this one is a TDS 2002, TDS 2002. It's a 60 megahertz scope, so not screaming fast, but I would think that would be fast enough for what I need.
I think that's very likely. You should be able to see any switching frequency below that. You won't see a square wave. You'll see little spikes with it AC coupled, but you should be able to see them.
Okay, well, thanks. I will play around with that. Anybody else have any input on this?
NYY again.
Yeah, go ahead, Bart.
Do you know from memory what the trigger options are on the scope? Typically, there's internal, external, automatic, and free running, depending on, again, I don't know that model. The other thing, if you get a moment, take a picture of the front of the scope and text it to me, and I can do a little bit better job with that information. Back to net.
K0AZA, net control for tonight's NCARC TechNet for the beep. Okay, I appreciate that, Bart. I'll do that. It may be a day or two. It's not high priority, and I've got other chirping birds, but I'll try and get it set up a bit later in the week and shoot you a picture. I appreciate that.
Can you tell me what the power supply is so that I can find the switching frequency?
Yes and no, and maybe I should clarify a bit. It actually isn't a power supply, and this has to do with my business, which you're familiar with. It's actually a boost buck converter, so it'll take in anything from 9 to 40 volts and put out 13.8 volts. So, in theory, unless it's getting ripple from the thing feeding it, it shouldn't, in theory, have 60 hertz AC on it. What I really want to see is the switching artifacts from the boost buck circuit.
Well, if it's a Vicor or the other people whose name I can think of, there won't be any, but if it's not one of those, measuring it is definitely the right thing to do. And again, happy to help with that at any time. And zero in my way.
Yeah, it's not one of those. Hence the reason for wanting to measure it. I do have a data sheet on it, and it's got waveforms on the data sheet. So I can also email you the data sheet. It's in PDF format. And you can look at it and see what you think. Obviously, the interest would be primarily for using it for radio equipment. Hence my hesitation and wanting to just throw my Yaesu on it and say, yeah, I'm sure it'll work.
The good old-fashioned series inductor parallel capacitor noise filters work wonders, as do toroids. But anyway, we can get to the bottom of it, I am sure.
Yeah, well, according to their advertising, it should be clean. But what is it that Reagan said? Trust but verify. So that's what we're going to do. Okay, well, I appreciate that input. Are there any other topics for tonight's TechNet? Any late check-ins?
W0KKM Mobile, late check-in, no topic.
Yeah, Whiskey 0, Lima Echo India, W0 LEI, Chad, Stout, no topic.
Okay, I have Kyle and Chad. Good evening, gentlemen. It sounded like somebody was doubling with Chad. Doubling station, please come back now.
This is Kilo Foxtrot 0, Oscar Delta Delta. Late check-in, no topic.
Hi, Paul. Thanks for the check-in. Anybody else? Please call now.
WB5TEX Whiskey Bravo 5 Tango Echo X-Ray Dale Loveland, no traffic again. I think I doubled with you.
Yeah, no problem, Dale. I got you. Anybody else? Please call now. Okay, I appreciate the check-ins. Last chance. Any topics, questions, or other discussion before we close the net this evening?
YDN with an other discussion topic.
Go ahead, Eric. The floor is yours.
About 6 months ago, I got I think it's Power Engineering, empty box for building a balun in and pass the toroids and wire to somebody who was much more fleet-fingered than me. Unfortunately, in the transfer, one of the screws got dropped. It's a plastic gray box, identical to the ones that you see 49-to-1 baluns and other products like that. It's maybe 4 inches by 4 inches by 2.5 inches thick, and I'm looking for a fourth screw to keep the weather out and the dry inside.
Eric, you just need the missing screw for it?
That is correct.
You know, I've had really good luck with Joseph's Hardware. They're in the shopping center on the corner of Taft Hill and Drake, right there by the Safeway. They've got an aisle that's got fasteners that's from floor to above head height with little drawers, and they've got everything, both metric and I guess it would be called SAE. And you know, you wouldn't want to buy a whole bunch of them because they charge out the nose. Well, relatively speaking, out the nose. You know, 10 or 15 cents for a little screw. But if you need 2 or 3 of something, they do a great job.
So noted. Okay, well, I may just take it to a hardware store, take one screw out, and start trying to match by appearance. And SAE is correct. SAE stands for Society of Automotive Engineers.
Cool. I probably knew that at one point. I also think the Ace Hardware out on Harmony, they're in that same shopping center where Red Robin and Kohl's and Liberty Arms is. I think they're kind of the same way. I find that for things like that, they do a whole lot better than the big box store, and there's actually people there that can help you that know what they're talking about. So probably either one of those guys would be able to take care of you.
Again, so noted. KB0YDN, back to net.
Great. Anybody else have a topic or discussion or question? Hearing none, this concludes the NCARC TechNet. Net Control would like to thank each station for their participation. We had a total of 16 check-ins tonight. This net will occur again next Monday at the same time on this repeater. This is K0AZA closing the net at 18:29 and returning the repeater to normal operation. 73, and good night.
This presentation was brought to you by the Northern Colorado Amateur Radio Club. For more information, visit our website, ncarc.net. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to like and subscribe.